Hello everyone, Neil Tappin here from Golf Monthly, and welcome to the final episode in our three-part series in which we're going to try to help some amateur golfers shoot lower scores. In this episode we have Andy Edom, who plays off a handicap of 18, and he's going to get the chance to play some golf here at Wentworth with Nick Doughtery and then head to the range for a one-on-one lesson. Hopefully there should be some advice both on how to play, how to build a strategy for the golf course, but also some tips on how to practice and how to swing it a little bit better that will help Andy, but also might help you too. Right, let's get started. Okay, so Andy, thanks for joining us here at Wentworth. What's your handicap, and just give us a sense for where your golf is at right now?
My handicap's 18. It's a little bit variable because I don't get out that often and play that often, so right. I tend to feel that I manage the ball around the course more than anything else. Okay,
so then what are the sort of strengths, what are the weaknesses in your golf game?
Definitely strengths would be wedges and short irons. Yeah. Generally speaking, the longer the club, the more wayward I can get.
Right, and when we're talking wayward, are we talking right or left?
A little bit of both, to be true.
Right, okay, so what are you looking then? So you've got access to Nick, what are you looking for in terms of advice to help you play?
Just to basically straighten me out a little bit, help me hit the ball a little bit straighter. I know I can feel there's certain parts of my swing that aren't right, it's just the order in which to correct that.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
Well, I think you're with the right person today. Right, let's head out onto the golf course and meet Nick.
In the balls of the feet, wouldn't it? Certainly in that more forward side, the top corner, I'd kick out that way, wouldn't I? And I'd put the spin on the ball, and if I was trying to bend it the other way, even as a right footer, I'd kick this side of the ball and then let me just see that. So now just feel that path of the other line. Make me work this way and see how much more turn through the ball I am. Long way, so actually you really got to feel like you're going to drive forward. This way, and then you have to find a way to get into.
Okay, Nick, so let's talk about Andy's golf game. So first time you'd seen him play today, we played 3 holes here on the West Course. What does Andy do well? What does he need to work on, do you think?
Well, he's diligent with how he goes about his game. I can relate to Andy in terms of he's an overthinker with his game because he tries so hard.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's an admirable quality. It's a noble pursuit, but one that's thwarted, unfortunately, with this game, because the more we get invested sometimes consciously with it, the more we get in our own way. And I think Andy had a little bit of that going on. You could see there was, to me, the nature of how he stood to the ball. It was not overcoached, but overthought. Right. You know what I mean? It was just like he's ticking boxes in his mind. And I know what that feels like because that's what I've done. And ironically, it took away a little bit of the flow of him just getting out of his way and playing golf. Right, okay. So I think for me, a little bit with Andy is, and it's a challenge I think sometimes with coaching, is help someone get better without making them turn inward, you know, in terms of their thoughts. Yeah. Because the last thing I need to do is to give Andy 10 different things to go and think about. Okay. And the problem for Andy was with what we talked about with his swing, it wasn't, one of them was a pre-swing thing, but the sensation I wanted to feel was in the swing. They're always tougher because it's happening as we're doing it. As you're doing it. You know, so I think for him, there's a very simple fix that was really important, which was aim straight. Right, okay. You know, for him, that was shoulders. So he sets up beautifully every time. And then right before he pulls the trigger, he decides to make it more difficult for himself. Right. And gives it one of these with the shoulders.
So closing the shoulders, what does that do?
Well, it completely shifts the way that the club wants to move for starters. So from that very moment then, Andy's swing is always working this way. And ironically, we tend to build compensations in our swing to make whatever we've got going on work. To him, he's not shot though. Yeah. In his head, he's dead square. He's not though. Yeah. He's way right with his shoulders. Because then when I went and worked with him on the range and squared him up, of course he feels wide open.
Feels weird.
Yeah. Even though he stood like that naturally, And it was only right before he pulled the trigger, he gives it the bump with the shoulders like that. So he felt fine to do that first, but he thought, no, come on, we need to get these shot off. So again, it's that classic feel versus real thing in the golf swing. And we all, again, have to deal with this, where what we feel very often isn't what is real out there. And so just him seeing me going across his shoulders there with the alignment stick and saying, right, come and step away and see where it is, so he can immediately come and check on me. You need that feedback, because I'm asking him to buy into something that everything inside him intuitively saying, that is not right, man. You got me stood like this now. How the hell am I going to propel the ball down there when you've got me stood this way? He needs to you need the buy-in first of all. Like, this is definitely what's happening, mate.
So then, how do you then make those adjustments without becoming too technical,
It's
without
hard.
then talking about
It's hard.
all of those things that can get you quite confused?
I think you first of all explain that the journey is not one of pure joy and ecstasy in terms of, like, and I think that's one thing. So I can relate to Andy in terms of, I've played 4 times this year. So even when I go out there today, there's a real mixed bag.
Yeah.
Making peace with the fact that there's going to be inconsistency is one of the greatest freedoms in our game that actually allows me to play way better golf. Because when I hit a bad shot, I don't do what I used to when I was a tournament professional and delve in there. Why did you do that? This needs a bit. And of course, there's little things like this, which no one notices. It's very often we overcomplicate in that issue. So one of the things obviously that happened with the movement was that his path was very much inside out, and it was reflected in, obviously, you see some early extension in there, club drifting from inside out as well, and you see the release pattern as well, sort of this way over his shoulder. So
what, leading to pushes and hooks?
Yeah, so if the face matches up to that direction that he's swinging it, it's a block to the right, and of course if the face is actually square, it's the hook, which is going to make him want to swing even more to the right-hand side, which of course we know is welcome to golf. So in essence, we had to get a feeling for, let's be square, that's going to feel rubbish. Make peace with that feels rubbish today, not forever, just today. I know it takes huge discipline. Go on the range, do the reps. Ignore where it's going. You have no right to care where that's going, because one, you're not really focused on it, because you're not playing golf, you're playing pretty swings. But we're practicing pretty swings, that's what we're doing at the moment with this. And you're just going to go drill it in. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. And you can break that up with then going, right, I'm going to hit a normal shot. I'm going to play to this flag and go through my normal routine, because what we want to do is do the stuff that requires us to step outside the way. Because if I get used to practice a swing, but then also say, yeah, but I need you to hit it close as well. Not going to work so well. Whereas if I say to you, all you have to do, and we did this with him, I wanted to try and feel hitting these nice little low fades, because it was forcing him to want to have to move better with his lower half, which again was something we talked about, synchronization. Trying to feel, so it's a nice simple drill. As you take it halfway back, you step forward, which gets you using to feel. And of course you don't get halfway back. People tend to get up here when they actually do it, which is like the golf swing, because in essence, with every good player, it starts with a move as this is finishing off into that left side. Don't want him thinking about that.
No.
And then from there, from having that better feeling of being into that left side a little earlier, rather than he was more back here and this way, and was almost feeling like we're moving a little earlier into that left side, you wanted to try and feel that nice little feeling of hitting a low cut. And I like things like that, because if I say to you, how would you hit a low cut? We've all got a feeling of, I'd be like that. I'd hit it that way. And so it provides a feeling rather than a, right, so we need to get the club there. And then in this position, then you want to feel that goes, you know, I think that stuff makes it way too complicated. So he hit some horror show shots, which is good, because it shows me he's really tapping into that. So for me, it's sort of, let's get in amongst the weeds, get really ugly.
Spend a bit of time doing that on the range.
Get really comfortable being uncomfortable. And then we go, right, done. We get in, we do the work, then we leave and we go and play the game.
So then, Nick, let me ask you, somebody of Andy's level in the game, what strategy advice would you offer?
Having a plan for what you're going to be all about on the golf course is more important. I think for players of the handicap when you're at 18, you're in that beautiful zone where some days it can be a game changer of a day, but you always have the chance of going and have one of those shocker days as well. So I think making it nice and simple, have a plan with your coach is really good. So Andy's a great example of this. Have a plan for how you're going to make the improvements, but when you go out to play well. There's so many things at 18 handicap you can dabble with and play with and try this and try that. My experience is most of the time we get worse. Too much going around our head, and then we end up going, oh God, I'm thinking about too much. How many times have you heard, I'm thinking about too much? Well, don't. Have your plan, stick to your plan. And strategy, you know, you save so many shots around. Take a joy from thinking like a top level pro. You might not be able to hit Rory's shots, but you can think like him, you know. So that means like when you go in there with your 3-wood in this stuff, Is Rory going in there with his root? Because if he ain't, you shouldn't. You know, and I think that's one of the things we can see is that, you know, you won't necessarily always be able to hit the shot you want to, but we can make the right decision about it. Yeah. And knowing where your strengths are as well, being more responsible in what we pick, having a good strategy that takes some of the risk away. And for an amateur golfer at 18 handicap, that could be like, let's not hit the hero shot because that's screaming an 8 if it doesn't come off. Let's play it smart, let's make a nice 5. And it takes discipline, that, because of course we all want to hit the shot that allows us to, you know, the shot that makes us feel $1 million. But if it's in a comp, if you're having a out with your mates, whack away. Yeah. If you're in a comp and you're serious about wanting to improve your handicap, do that. Do the right thing and start making the right decisions, because it's what the top players will do.
Yeah. So there you have it. If you want to get better at golf, and who doesn't, then you've got to commit to it. You don't have to be technical, but you do have to commit to what you're trying to do. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so there you have it. That's our look at Andy's game and Nick's tips to help him improve. Obviously with Andy, he needs to make some technical improvements, but what's great about the advice that Nick is offering is that, yes, it's clear to see those technical improvements that need to be made, but the advice needs to be as simple and practical and usable as possible. Hopefully that's what Andy got from it. If you're in a similar category with your golf game, then using some of that advice to help you as well should really make a big difference. But that's it for now for Wentworth. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time.